All right, beautiful people. As promised, in studio, we have with us the wonderful, debonair, and self-declared face for radio, Joel Vettel. Joel, good morning.
Wow, with an introduction like that, I don't know if I can go anywhere from that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna go up from there. Joel, for those people who are tuning in, you have been a regular. You have been a staple in our community for quite some time. Give us an idea of your history, starting back in Cummings, North Dakota.
You know, I am very proud to come from a great community, Cummings, North Dakota, but grew up in Cummings, but also went to high school, elementary school in Hillsboro, which is another fine community here in North Dakota. I'm very blessed to have just a great upbringing, great family, great people around me to really mentor me into where I was at.
And you're from a family of 9, right? 7 kids.
Yeah, 7 kids, all within 10 years. My poor parents, you know, they put up with a lot, but they've been just a tremendous influence. My dad passed away several years back, and my mom's still alive and still kind of the matriarch of the family, and certainly has a lot of influence on what we do each and every day.
I bet. And so after you graduated from Hillsboro, what did you do after that?
You know, I was blessed enough to find an opportunity to wrestle at NDSU and become a student athlete for the Bison, and kind of the rest is history from there. As I tell everybody, you know, I still continue to find a tremendous amount of value in being a former student athlete, but more important, a former Bison athlete. And the reason why is the program was an incredible experience. It taught me a lot, and it really provided me the opportunity to find a great community like Fargo, North Dakota, which I continue to serve now for over 20 years as a public servant.
Oh my gosh! Were you a product of Bucky Mon?
You know, I can honestly say that he was, you know, as he was quite a character, and he was my head coach for all the years that I wrestled for the Bison, and a true great friend to this day. And in fact, I just visited with him the other night, and he always provides me some valuable lessons. I always tell my favorite Bucky Mon story. We were in Pennsylvania wrestling in a dual tournament, and I just wrestled very poorly, as I might add. As I was walking off the mat, I saw Bucky coming towards me. I thought he was going to have some great words of encouragement for me. And as I walked past him, he didn't even stop as he passed me. He turned to me and looked at me, and he said, "Vettel, you couldn't beat that guy with a gun," and continued to walk away. So truly, he's a truly incredible man, and always puts life in perspective.
Now, Joel, you probably don't know this about me, but you and I share wrestling in our background. I wrestled for a month and a half when I was like 7 years old. So if you ever want to grapple, I am not up for it.
Well, I was just saying, if you got some, we have the state wrestling tournament next week here in Fargo, North Dakota. So stopping out, maybe you can give some kids some pointers.
Oh my gosh, run and scream was my move. I was very thorough. So after graduating from NDSU, what was next on your plate? Because did you go right to the police academy from there?
No, I didn't. I actually kind of left. I took a job with Target Corporation and traveled around the country. I was in Minneapolis several times. I was in different parts of North Dakota working for Target. Finally ended up back in Minneapolis before I got the idea that I wanted to come back to Fargo. The police department had some openings, and I threw my name in the hat. Never really had an anticipation that I was going to ever be a police officer. And so when people say, was it a calling? No, it was more of a kind of one of those decisions I made because I wanted to get back to a community that I loved, and found that really law enforcement was something I truly did find a passion for. And you know, and I can honestly say I was with them for 19 years, and every moment I really enjoyed. And I have tremendous friends and tremendous partners that I've had throughout the years in law enforcement. And now I get the opportunity to take that love and passion of Fargo, and now I've turned it into another career, and it's truly been a great transformation for me and my family, and we've just really been blessed with the opportunity.
Those of you tuning in, Joel Vettel, formerly of the Fargo Police Department and now with Fargo Parks, the newest gig. I want to talk a lot about what's happening with the Park District and those sorts of things, but I can't pass up the opportunity to say, what is the craziest thing you saw as a police officer? Because you get to see some weird things, and you get to see, unfortunately, some dark sides of the community, but you also get to see some hilarious things. And I want to know a hilarious thing that you saw.
You know, I always, there's a number of those that come to mind, but one I always remember is, this was many years ago. I was I was actually attempting to make a traffic stop on a car, and I noticed another car was driving very erratically, so I actually left that first car and started following the second
That's
car.
every person's dream when they get pulled over, right?
Well, and as I noticed, this car literally was driving so badly, it went from one edge of the road to the other, bounced off a couple of curbs, ended up going up the curb, up the sidewalk, up onto the boulevard, onto somebody's yard, and slammed into a very large tree. And so I was very concerned, had my lights on. I ran up to the vehicle, fully expecting this person was going to be injured. As I approached the car, the male driver was still in the car. He obviously didn't realize that he had struck a tree and still believed that he was driving and had his hands very cautiously on the wheels. Much to his surprise, as he's thinking he's traveling 35 miles an hour down the road, he looks out his window and sees me standing next to him.
You're a heck of a runner.
And I think that really startled him. At that point, he actually tried to go faster, so he was more focused on the ability to get away. And I spent about 5 minutes knocking on his window, convincing him that I wasn't running next to him. I was actually stopped. And he finally, I got the car door open. He fell out of the car. So he fell onto the ground, and he looked up at me and he says, and I said, "How much have you had to drink?" He goes, "Just 2." And I said, "They must have been really, really big." But anyway, that was one of those comical moments. You put life in perspective when you have an individual that doesn't even recognize that his vehicle's struck a large tree.
Well, I'll be darned. I would have a clever quip about that, but it would probably be incriminating to myself. So let's do this, Joel. We're going to go to break, but I want to come back and learn all the things that are happening with the Fargo Park District. Thanks for being in studio with us. Those of you tuning in during the break, head to livefargomoorhead.com, find out what your home is worth, and check out some exciting things going on in our community. This is Real Estate Radio with Erik Hatch. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio. As always, I'm your host, Erik Hatch, and in studio with us, we still have the wonderful Joel Vettel telling stories off air as well that are making us smile quite a bit. Joel, let's talk about the Fargo Park District. This is a new gig for you, yeah?
Yes, just been on the job since September, and I do have a little bit of history with the district. I started on their elected official on their board, but for 12 years. So
wow.
It was it was something that I've always had a passion for. It's been a great organization, and we've been in existence for 110 years.
Ooh.
We started as a district, and that's pretty amazing. And more amazing about that is I'm only the 8th director in 110 years.
Are you kidding me?
No, and so
how long did Roger Gress do the gig?
Over 20 years. Wow. And so you can see there's been some longevity within that position, and I think the reason why is, one, it's a great organization, but the other thing, it's a great job. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it. I love going to work each and every day. There's a lot of passion within the organization, a lot of great people, but more importantly, we have a community that really is committed to not only Parks and Rec, but also quality of life. They know that we don't live here as an for the weather. The weather is not what we come here for. We come for quality of life, and part of that quality of life is recognizing opportunities to make people happy. Mm-hmm. And I tell people this all the time. There's 2 businesses that we're in. We're in the wellness business, both emotionally, mentally, physically, but probably as important, we're in the memory-making business. And I can't believe how many people have come up to me when I started this job and start their conversations with, I remember when the first time I got my first job was through the Park District. The first time I took my child to this park. The first time my child was out swimming. The first time my kids got skates put on their feet and they got to go out and skate. Those are making memories, and I can't believe how often we hear that and how important that is for our community.
It's funny that you say that. My wife, her first job, Fargo Park District, and she was planting flowers and pulling weeds all around golf courses all summer long, and had a very awkward tan, she would tell me, from all that. I remember going to Harry Holland Pool up at the Fargo North campus, and now they've, of course, changed their pool, and there's tennis courts where it was at, but I spent my summer days there. And it's amazing to see the layers of impact that the Fargo Park District has. And you all right now are you're breaching some change. There's talk of taking on a police officer for the Park District, right? Tell me more about that.
Well, we really started a conversation quite a while ago in reference to, because of the size of our organization, we have about 120 full-time employees. We employ about 1,200 part-time employees. We impact a variety of different areas around the community, whether it be our Valley Senior Services, and a lot of people don't recognize that that's a division of the Park District.
I had no idea.
So we do Meals on Wheels. We do all the senior centers. That's us. And we also have about 140 parks or park facilities that we manage. And part of that is we've never had one person that has coordinated the safety and security for all of those entities. And when you look at a company, which we are a company of our size, not to have one person that's designated to safety and security, it's pretty amazing. And it speaks volumes for the people that we've had in those positions that have really kind of taken upon themselves to really be smart at what they do and make sure they take that as a high priority. But one of the things that is very dear to my heart, coming from my past, is that I want people to feel safe in their environment, and that you can't have quality of life until you have safety. And so I just said, let's find a way to make that a priority, and let's bring in a coordinator. So we designed a coordinator position around safety and security. And part of that was I was looking at ways to add value to that position. And one of the easiest ways and more inexpensive ways is to connect a licensed peace officer to that position. So make that and so it was really an easy transition for me to go from safety to security to, okay, let's make that position and part of a law enforcement officer. So we're working very diligently with the state, with the city of Fargo, with Fargo Police Department to coordinate that effort, and we hope to have somebody in place later this spring.
So this spring, the funding is there. The job hunt is now afoot. Is that fair to say?
We've got some fine tuning we want to do. We want to make sure we have everything laid out as cleanly as possible. We don't want any missteps, and so I'm more about the process. We have not advertised for the position yet. We have written the job description. We've done all those important things, but it's just about trying to figure out where we're at from here.
Any interest in hiring somebody who was a wrestler for a month and a half when they were 7 years old?
Well, I don't know. One, I don't know if we could afford you.
You wouldn't want me, Joel.
But no, the other part is, we always say that we want the best quality people, and we're very serious about that. We have, at the district, we've been very blessed with great people and people that are passionate about what they do. And I think we're going to find a very similar person to fill this role. And that's really what it's about, because this job, as we all know, in public service, you don't go in it for the money. You go in it for the ability to really impact lives. And as I tell people over and over again, and this is kind of a little bit of a long story, so you have to bear with me, but I utilize how we impact lives. And each person within our team, I tell them their role, no matter what they do, is no more important than the person next to them. And everybody's important. And why are we important? And I tell with the quality of life thing, but I think more importantly is a story that I use about two guys that are working in a rock quarry. And the guy's watching them work in this rock quarry, and as he's watching them, one's very happy and one's very sad. And as he walks over, he gets curious. He looks like they're doing the same job, breaking big rocks into small rocks. So he finally goes over and asks the sad one. He says, "What are you doing?" The guy looks at him very angrily, and he says, "What does it look like I'm doing?" "I'm breaking big rocks into little rocks." And he goes over to the other guy who looks like he's doing the identical job.
Right.
And he says, "What are you doing?" And the guy looks at him with a big smile. He says, "I'm building cathedrals."
Yeah.
And you know what? That story really is what we do at the Park District. We build cathedrals, and we do it through memories. We do it through a commitment to making sure quality of life is the most important thing that we do here each and every day. And no matter if it's the guy mowing the grass or it's the guy in my seat, they're all important roles. They're all making the same impact. They're all building cathedrals. And that's what's really passionate for me about this district.
Well, Joel, you're making a profound impact on our community. Thank you for your service for the last 19 plus years. God bless you. And folks, go to the Fargo Park District. Let them know you appreciate them. Get involved in their programming. Joel Vettel, thank you so very much. Folks, head to livefargomoorhead.com and find out what your home is worth.